Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is now officially flashing a new signal in the short term that we need to pay attention to, repeating history, and is about to now invalidate this previous bearish divergence. And this is happening while we're seeing a bounce in the short term from this exact area of support in the US stock market. Again, history is repeating. So this is, of course, helping the Bitcoin and crypto market in the short term alongside this new signal for Bitcoin, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Ethereum still currently being squeezed between this support and this resistance, while the price of XRP is continuing to hold above this crucial area of support. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, taking a quick look at the US stock market today. This is the S&P 500 index on the 1 hour time frame. And of course, after the long weekend, we've now opened back up again here on Tuesday. And we're now seeing a bounce, of course, from this major area of support, exactly where we've seen multiple other important bounces over the last few weeks in this US stock market, in the S&P 500 index. And so at least as of right now, this sideways price range remains undefeated. We're continuing to bounce from support, reject from resistance, but overall, basically, we're just bouncing around in a sideways price range. As we can see, relatively horizontal lows and relatively horizontal highs, just consolidating sideways if we're looking at the larger trends that we're currently in here on the 1 hour time frame for the US stock market. So once again, in the immediate short term, now that we're seeing yet another bounce from this support, of course, in the shorter term, this can help assist Bitcoin and crypto just in the short term with a bit of a bullish relief. Not necessarily a massive bullish move, not necessarily a huge reversal towards all-time highs or anything like that, but just in the shorter term, once again, this can potentially help Bitcoin and crypto a little bit. And so just keep this in mind throughout the video. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today, here on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bear market or a larger correction in the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, obviously we're still playing out the massive bearish divergence, the long-term bearish signal still active, still playing out, as I've been talking about for many months now, since all the way back up here. Once again, not a lot has changed over the last 1 day on the weekly time frame. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, obviously right now in the somewhat shorter term during the much larger multi-month bearish trend, we're still currently within support and resistance, currently kind of just bouncing around relatively sideways in the shorter term, just like the US stock market, obviously bouncing around relatively sideways between support and resistance. But during that choppy sideways price action, obviously we can see short-term bullish moves and short-term bearish moves. So if we're zooming further into the short term to take a look at those short-term bearish and short-term bullish moves that flip basically every couple of days, right now we're potentially at another little turning point just when we're talking about the very short-term moves here. Remember, at least for now, all of this is still occurring within some choppy sideways price action that is occurring within a longer term bearish trend. So understand the difference between the different time frames, but talking about the very short term moves, once again, we're potentially at yet another little turning point here on the 2 hour Bitcoin price chart. Because as we can see here, we've just started to confirm with one small confirmation signal so far, started to confirm this new bullish divergence on the 2 hour Bitcoin price chart, with lower lows confirmed in the price in the candle closes and higher lows now confirmed with one candle close in the RSI, in the 2 hour Bitcoin RSI, which is just like what we saw around 12th of February, obviously lower lows price, higher lows RSI, bullish divergence telling us to expect most likely some sort of slight bullish relief, maybe some choppy sideways price action as the most common outcomes. Basically a bit of a break or a relief from all of the bearish price action is really quite likely for the next 1 to 2 days based on a bullish divergence on the 2 hour time frame. And once again, we've just started to confirm with one confirmation signal so far, so not a lot of confirmation, but we are starting to confirm this new bullish divergence, which is now invalidating the previous bearish divergence on the 2 hour Bitcoin price chart. And so obviously this bearish divergence, as I warned about back around here, perfectly played out exactly as predicted, with just a slight little cool off in the price, a bit of choppy sideways price action as the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. And right now, once again, it's the exact opposite, either a very slight bullish move or a bit of choppy sideways price action, as the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. So overall, that is my expectation now, and that is my exact prediction in the shorter term for the price of Bitcoin in the next few hours or the next 1 to 2 days. Once again, that sort of time frame, only looking at short-term moves here. But remember, all of this is still occurring within a bit of a sideways price action, choppy sideways price action, as we can see, a sideways price range, which will likely last at least over another 1 to 2 weeks. But remember, zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, still within a much larger multi-month bearish trend. And so those are my exact predictions moving forward for the price of Bitcoin. And of course, support and resistance has not changed over the last 1 day. And if you want to actually trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any crypto, you need to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you use the first link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link below this video will take you to this page right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, which by the way is a no KYC exchange and is an exchange that I personally use myself from time to time. And simply just by making your account using that first link below the video to 2bit and making deposits and trading crypto, you can take advantage of potentially up to 800,000 USD worth of prizes here just by simply trading crypto using that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Take advantage of some major prizes over here. Once again, first link below the video. And remember, 2bit is indeed a no KYC exchange. But if you want another option out there, another exchange that I personally use myself, where you can also take advantage of extra bonuses, then in that situation, check out the second link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, because the second link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange. And as you can see right here, by making a deposit as little as 100 USDT on Pinex using that link below the video, you can potentially win up to 100,000 USD worth of gold, $100,000 worth of gold just from a $100 deposit. Gets you one entry into this huge giveaway right here. So obviously, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, if you're going to be making deposits on exchanges, you might as well check this out. Take advantage of this massive campaign that's running right now just for the next few days. Once again, second link below the video to Pinex. But with that being said, taking a really quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and right now we have a small amount of liquidity to the downside and to the upside. So nothing too special to watch out for in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, at least right now. But looking at those key levels, we do have a level sitting at around 66.4 to 66.5K, another level to the downside at around 64.9 to 65,000, and some liquidity towards the upside at pretty much exactly 71,000. And so considering this piece of information, a possible likely scenario in the shorter term over the next 1 day or so is maybe a little liquidity grab of this level at roughly 66,500, 66.4K, around there. And if that's the case, if we see another slight little dip, we might just extend or reconfirm this bullish divergence by seeing another little dip towards the downside like this to wipe out that liquidity, but then that will just form a lower low in the price. And if the RSI is still sitting in higher lows, once again, that would potentially just extend this bullish divergence or reconfirm the bullish divergence, and then ultimately continue to play it out within the next 1 to 2 days. But just keep that in mind if we're talking about the next, let's just say 12 to 24 hours as a possible likely scenario that we need to consider. That short-term level at around 66.4 to 66.5K is a likely short-term target. But remember, with this bullish divergence, it is likely that within the next couple of days, we'll likely start to play out a little bit of a relief here. But remember, that's all talking about very short-term moves. Overall, we're likely just going to remain in a bit of a choppy sideways price range for at least the next 1 to 2 weeks. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, obviously in the short term, we're continuing a little bit more of a pullback in the Bitcoin dominance. But overall, we're still basically just bouncing around relatively sideways. We haven't really left this range, at least right now, which means overall, a lot of the altcoin market will still likely be performing very similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing, which of course means if Bitcoin starts to play out this bullish divergence and a slight little relief, obviously that's also some good news for a lot of the altcoins on average. It's basically what this Bitcoin dominance is telling us right now on the daily time frame. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, it's a very similar situation for Ethereum as Bitcoin also on on the 3-day time frame. Obviously still within a much larger multi-month bearish trend, but the shorter term situation is that we're still just bouncing around it relatively sideways, playing out choppy sideways price action, helping to reset this oversold signal here in the 3-day Ethereum RSI, which has obviously been my prediction for over a week now. Since the moment we saw that flash crash, obviously we hit oversold, and my prediction ever since then has been either just a slight little relief, a slight little bullish relief, or most likely a bit of choppy sideways price action over the next couple of weeks. And obviously over the last 1 week, we've exactly played that out as predicted, and I continue to predict this moving forward at least over the next 1 week, possibly even a bit longer. And if we're taking a look at the daily Ethereum price chart, currently the price is bouncing around and getting somewhat squeezed between this support and this resistance. Obviously, it's very much clear that we're in a bit of a sideways price range in the shorter term during the larger bearish trend, which once again has been my exact prediction for over a week now. And right now, this level of support has not changed. It's still sitting at roughly 1.8K. We also have a bit of short-term support, as I said in my last video, developing at just above 1.9K, around 1920, give or take, as another level of support to watch out for. And as for resistance, expect a lot of resistance at just above 2.1K, especially in between 2150 to 2250 as a strong area of resistance on the price chart. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, obviously in the shorter term, we're still holding above this crucial area of support here in between around $1.30 to $1.40. But keep in mind, in terms of the longer term trend, we've not yet invalidated this larger bearish divergence of the weekly XRP price chart. So like I warned about all the way back up here at well above $3, we're still overall looking bearish in terms of the longer term trends, the bigger picture. But of course, during this much larger multi-month bearish trend, from time to time, we can see short-term bounces, short-term reliefs from points of support and things like that along the way towards the downside. But don't be fooled by those short-term bounces, because overall, bigger picture, still looking bearish. But once again, at least for now, we are still holding this key area of support at $1.30 to $1.40 in the shorter term. And we're also still playing out this oversold signal here in the 3-day XRP RSI. And so like I predicted over a week ago, right around here at this local low, I said it's extremely likely that over the next couple of weeks, this low will be at least a local low put in place and will likely hold above that level for at least the next few weeks or so, playing out just a slight little bounce, maybe some choppy sideways price action as a very likely scenario for the next couple of weeks. And so far over the last 1 week, once again, that's been exactly playing out as predicted. And I continue to predict this same sort of price action that we've been seeing over the last 1 week moving forward, at least over the next 1 week, possibly even longer, possibly even another couple of weeks. But at least over the next 1 week, I continue to expect this RSI oversold signal to continue to play out here in the shorter term. But remember, an oversold signal by itself is not necessarily guaranteeing that we've hit the bottom. It is not necessarily a reversal signal ending the larger bearish trend. So just keep that in mind. For all we know, this could just be another shorter term relief, kind of like what we saw here or here, for example, during the much larger bearish trend. So keep that in mind. That's still the situation, perfectly playing out as predicted. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the 3-day time frame, it's a very similar situation for Solana. Obviously, still within a much larger multi-month bearish trend, but in the shorter term, continuing to hold above this crucial support here in between $75 to $80, and also playing out an oversold signal in the 3-day Solana RSI, telling us to expect most likely either some choppy sideways price action or potentially just a slight little bullish relief over the next few days or potentially weeks. And as for resistance, we still have a lot of resistance in between roughly $95 to $105. So overall, not a lot has changed over the last 1 day for Solana. So without wasting your time, getting straight into the price of Chainlink on the 3-day time frame. And it's a very similar situation here for Chainlink as well. Obviously, still within a larger multi-month bearish trend, but bouncing from support and playing out an oversold signal on the 3-day Chainlink RSI. Basically the exact same story here. Obviously, this support still sitting in between around $7.90 to $8.50 as key support to watch out for. And as for resistance, we have a lot of resistance in between $9.50 to $10. And so obviously not a lot has changed over the last 1 day. So my prediction is still the same, which is most likely the price of Chainlink remaining within this range between that support and that resistance, at least for the next 1 week moving forward, possibly even longer, possibly even another couple of weeks. But at least over the next 1 week, week, we're likely going to remain in this range, playing out either a very, very slight little bullish relief, testing resistance, or most likely a bit of choppy sideways price action within this area. It's still my prediction, and obviously still playing out as expected. And if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, no matter what direction the price goes, remember, get set up ready to go using those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to take advantage of massive bonuses that are only available using those links to certain exchanges. And of course, if you want to actually know how you can trade these moves no matter what direction the price goes to profit at all times in the market, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.